Look around you. Go to a coffee shop, a bar, a bookstore. What do you see? You see people, men and women, but you don't see them talking to each other. You see them buried in their screens, swiping left and right on dating apps, existing in parallel universes that never quite intersect. We were told we needed to purge public life of harassment, and we all agreed. Nobody of good conscience wants women to feel unsafe. But in the process, we criminalized ordinary, awkward human connection. We pathologized male attraction. And now we're living in the world we built, a world where a man striking up a conversation with a woman he doesn't know is seen not as potential, but as a potential threat. And here's the uncomfortable, unspoken truth that nobody wants to say out loud. I think a lot of women are starting to feel the void. They're starting to miss the casual compliments, the spontaneous conversations, the feeling of being seen and desired in the real world. But they can't have it both ways. You can't build a culture that defines unsolicited male attention as, by default, toxic and dangerous, and then be sad when it disappears. This video isn't a defense of harassment. It's a critique of the overcorrection. It's about how, in trying to make the world safer, we've made it lonely. And why it's now way too risky for the average, decent man to even try. The world we lost. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Not to some mythical 1950s patriarchy, but even just 25 years ago. How did people meet? They met at work. They met through friends. And crucially, they met in public. A guy would see a woman reading a book he liked at a cafe. He'd say, "Hey, great book. Have you read the author's other work?" It was awkward, it was a gamble, but it was human. A man might see a woman at a bar and offer to buy her a drink. A compliment on a smile or a dress wasn't immediately logged as a microaggression, it was often received as what it was, a gesture of interest. Was it perfect? Of course not. There were creeps then, just as there are now. But there was a social contract, an understanding that the dance of courtship involved a certain amount of risk and a certain amount of unsolicited initiation, primarily from men. The filter wasn't a digital algorithm, it was social context, body language, and a quick in-person judgment call. The fundamental difference was the presumption of good faith. The default assumption was that a man approaching you was just that, a man interested in a woman taking a shot. He was clumsy, he was nervous, he might be your soulmate or he might be a dud, but he wasn't immediately presumed to be a predator. That presumption is gone. Eradicated. It happened. A necessary and important conversation about consent and respect was launched into the mainstream, and it was a conversation that was long overdue. But like any mass movement, it lacked nuance. It was amplified by the outrage engine of social media, where the most extreme voices get the most traction. The language shifted. The word harassment was expanded. It no longer described prolonged, threatening, or deeply offensive behavior. It began to encompass almost any interaction a woman found subjectively unpleasant. A compliment on the street became verbal assault. A request for a phone number from a stranger became an invasion of space. A man lingering a little too long, trying to pluck up the courage to speak, was now loitering with predatory intent. We created a new lexicon: manspreading, mansplaining, toxic masculinity. Everywhere men looked, their natural state was being pathologized. The message was clear. Your presence is suspect. Your gaze is a threat. Your desire is problematic. Dating apps exacerbated this. They promised a safe space where women could be shielded from the messy, unpredictable reality of male approach. But they did something else. They commodified human connection. They turned people into profiles. They outsourced attraction from the gut to a digital checklist. And they removed all consequence for rejection. Ghosting someone on an app is a click. Looking a person in the eye and saying no, thank you, is a human skill we are rapidly unlearning. Result? The public sphere, the ancient arena of human flirtation and connection, was declared a minefield. And the average man received his new marching orders: stay in your lane. Keep your eyes to yourself. Don't talk to strangers. Your interest is no longer flattering, it's frightening. This brings us to the core of my argument. The modern risk-reward calculation for a man considering approaching a woman is catastrophically skewed. Let's break down the risk side of the equation for a man today. Social annihilation, this is the big one. In the pre-smartphone era, if you made a clumsy pass at a woman and she rejected you, the consequence was a moment of personal embarrassment. Today, that same interaction can be recorded on video. A 5-second clip, stripped of all context, can be uploaded to TikTok or Instagram with a caption like, "Watch this creep try to hit on me at the gym." You don't get to tell your side of the story. Your face is plastered over the internet. You can be doxxed. You can lose your job. Your life can be ruined for the crime of trying to start a conversation. Total reputational destruction. The presumption of malice. As I said before, the presumption of good faith is dead. The default setting for a woman, conditioned by this new culture, is often suspicion and defense. Your friendly smile is a leer. Your casual small talk is a scheme. You are guilty until proven innocent, but you're never given a chance to prove anything. You are judged and sentenced in a fraction of a second based on a vibe. It's exhausting. Men are tired. They are tired of having to be amateur sociologists, parsing every possible interpretation of a simple hello. We're tired of walking on eggshells, terrified that an ill-chosen word or a misinterpreted glance will land us in hot water. The mental load of trying to navigate these invisible, ever-shifting rules is immense. It's just easier not to play the game. So, when the potential reward, a date, a phone number, a nice conversation is weighed against the potential risk, public shaming, job loss, being labeled a predator, the rational choice is obvious. It is not worth it. Full stop. And this is where we get to the quiet part. The unintended consequence. I believe there is a growing silent sense of buyer's remorse among many women. The dating app paradise they were promised has turned out to be a dystopian hellscape of low-effort messages, hookup culture, and endless, meaningless swiping. They have 1,000 matches and 0 connections. They have infinite choice and no one to talk to in a coffee shop. We got what we asked for. Public spaces free from unsolicited male attention, and they're discovering that what they actually wanted was public spaces free from aggressive and creepy male attention. But the pendulum doesn't stop in the middle. It swung from one extreme to the other. We miss the feeling of being desired in the real world. The ego boost of a genuine, non-transactional compliment from a stranger. The romance of a chance encounter.